Hello and welcome everyone. It's Shanna. So glad you're here today. Now today we're working with some products from Spellbinders. Simon Hurley created this ski lodge set. There are 17 cutting dies with it. It creates an A-frame ski lodge with a snow scene. It's got a pine tree and some decking. And then we've also got the Hit the Slopes die. This is also Simon Hurley's from Spellbinders. And it's got three people, and it has, you can do skis for two and a snowboard for another. And then I've got the coordinating Better Press sentiment set, which is called Ski-Sins Greetings Sentiments. And you've got all kinds of fun sentiments with this. Sending snow much love, you're so cool, all this fun stuff. And we've also got the Streamline 3D embossing folder that kind of creates the I guess these ski tracks in the snow. And so we're going to go ahead and emboss two panels because we're going to make two cards. And I'm going to need two of these 3D embossed panels for it. I need to put the paper in there. I got a little ahead of myself. So we'll get two of these embossed and then we'll be ready to go. I will warn you, today's video is going to be a little bit longer. It's just slightly over 30 minutes because we are going to be working with two die sets. We've got this embossing folder that we're gonna press twice and for two cards, and we're also going to use the Better Press for our sentiments. So it will be a little bit longer video, but I think it's super cute. So I hope you stay to the end and get to see both cards and what I'm gonna do with this set from Simon Hurley. So we've got both of our plates pressed and we're ready to go. And we're going to have those. Now, I positioned the panels in different spots on the folder just to make it look different. And I've got all my pieces die cut out here for the ski lodge. And I've also got all of them cut out for the little skiers. And I did all of them in white so I could just lay them all down on a sheet of paper, die cut them all out, and then I brought in my markers and I colored them up just for simplicity. Now I have been making a gluey mess on my glass mat, so I'm going to bring in this is a stencil mat. I'm just going to bring it in and use it to do my gluing on, just to try and keep my gluey mess under control. Now here I've got the A-frame and the trim, the roof, like the roof, edge of the roof that we're going to assemble here. Now growing up, my cousin Margie, her parents had an A-frame house out in the country. And it was a lot like this, very similar. And it was up on a big, I would say kind of two hills. There was like two slopes. And while we didn't ski, and maybe she did out there, we would take sleds and we would go down those two hills in the wintertime. And actually it would deposit us out into the street. And as I think of it, it probably seems a little bit dangerous now, but we had a lot of fun at that A-frame house on that hill with all of our sleds and stuff in the wintertime. They also had, it's funny how things like this get you to recall, she also had, there was also a little house behind the A-frame, and it was a little playhouse, and we used to have fun playing in that house. That has been many, many years ago, so that is deep in the recesses of my memory, but this A-frame ski lodge made me think of it. Anyway, so what I'm doing here is I took vellum and die cut out the window, but it was going to show that brown or cinnamon color behind it. And so I decided to grab some of my Breeze cardstock from Spellbinders and use it behind the vellum, and it would create more of a window look. And so that's what I chose to do there. So I've got black trim on that window, and then we'll get our window laid down, and we're going to do the door very much the same way. So I'm going to bring in the trim piece for the door, and then we'll bring in the actual door, and we'll get it layered up, and then we'll layer our windows up just like we did the A-frame window above. And we'll get it pressed down. Just cleaning up the glue with my tweezers, which I need to really take a minute and clean my tweezers. They're pretty gluey. So I'm just using the tape runner again to lay some adhesive down on there. Then we'll put this vellum on top of it. And then I think between the vellum and that breeze colored cardstock, it kind of gives you the impression of a glass window. And I thought about using like metallic cardstock, but I thought, no, let's just use the vellum and the breeze, and we'll kind of have a faux looking window or whatever. So we'll get it laid down on here. And it would be cute, I should have done this, to bring in a wreath from one of your other sets. I'm thinking probably the Cuckoo add-ons. There would be a wreath in there that would be the perfect size. Or Yana's, the city, that house that she has. I can't think of the name of that set. But that had some wreaths that would be the perfect size for this as well. So here's the chimney, and when you die cut out the chimney, I die cut it out in that brown. It also die cuts out the cap to it. So I went ahead and die cut it out in black, and then I just layered up the brown piece that was previously die cut in the black, and it'll just give some extra dimension, and we'll get it laid down on there. I think a wreath would be very festive to add to that. So I'm going to use some tape runner because I just need like a temporary adhesion here to this. And then when I get my glue on the back of it and lay it on my card base, it'll be good. I just wanted to be able to move it around however I wanted it. So I'm trying to get it positioned because it's a good long chimney and I didn't want a whole bunch of it to be covered up. Now I'm realizing that I didn't die cut out the white snow that is going to go around this. And I didn't because I didn't have the cardstock out that I wanted. I used the Nina Solar White on the 3D embossed panels, and I wanted to use it. I wanted to use the same white for my snow. So now that I've got a panel handy, I'm going to go ahead and die cut it out. I had forgotten when I was planning this that I was going to do that, and so I didn't get it. So now we've got our little snow we're gonna lay down there on our roof, and we're gonna have just a snowy scene because we've got our 3D embossed panel, and then we've got snow on our roof. Now I could have added some snow like it was coming down at the time, but I chose to make this card scene kind of after the snow has fallen. So I'm just using my glue press, getting a little bit of glue on there, and we'll get it positioned on our roof and get it pressed down really nice. And there we go. So it's coming together. I think you could have used a door handle for the door. Now there are two pieces to the lights. You've got the color of the lights, and then you've got the color of the wire. And so I chose to do like a bright yellow and then a black for the wire. I suppose you could have green if you buy those lights that have the green wires on them, but I chose to go black and just kind of blend in with my roof line. Super cute. And those go together really quickly. Now you got to make sure that you put them in the right direction because one goes in one way and one goes in the other. One has a short little strip before the bulb on one, and the other one has a longer strip before the bulb on the other. So you just have to get them lined up with the right piece, and then they'll layer up very nicely. Just give it a little pinch. There we go. We've got our exterior illumination. And maybe I should have done a night scene since our lights are on, but it's Christmas and it's a ski lodge, so they probably have the lights on all the time. And we'll just get some glue on here. And I'm kind of cleaning up my mess, trying to get everything put away. I did do a cleanup in my craft room yesterday. Rather than crafting, I actually cleaned, and I was real pleased with how I did. I picked up another little bookshelf that I could kind of get some things off of my desktop with and still have them nearby, and that actually is working out well so far. Oh, there we go. So we've got both sets of our lights laid down. Because it is a lengthy video, I tried to chop out some things that you didn't necessarily need to see, and I thought spending the time to glue the second set of lights down wasn't really that critical to the overall part of the video. Now I'm looking for the kind of cobblestone, or I guess it'd be the foundation, or maybe even the porch of the A-frame house, and I'm not finding it. So I'm going to grab the die and die cut out another piece. And then I don't know if it's still in the video because I may have clipped it, but a little bit later I will find this piece. It was laying on the floor. It had fallen off the desk and I found it. So I just stuck it in the package with the dies, and I thought I'll have it for next time I use this die set. So we're just going to get it lined up. And I did have the printout sheet from Spellbinders that shows you how everything's assembled, just for the porch and the steps and these bracket areas, because I just wanted to make sure. Mainly that foundation piece, I wasn't sure which direction it laid, and so I referenced it for that, but otherwise I pretty much knew how it went together. I was just trying to see, because it seemed like the edges of them were rounded on one side, and I wanted to make sure I put them in the right direction. Now these are your steps coming out your front door, and it's layered. You've got these 3 pieces that you're going to layer on top of the base, and it'll give it some dimension. And I'm going to line them up, trying to see if, which ones are longer, or if they're all the same size or whatever. So I'm just checking them out, and then we'll get them laid down on here. So I think we're finally back into the routine since we've been on vacation. I'm starting to get back in my groove. I was really on the struggle bus as far as crafting and videoing, just kind of getting in the groove. I wasn't feeling it. I don't know, I just wasn't in the mood. And I'm starting to get back into my routine of things that are going on. And it's a good thing because I have got a lot of new product to bring to the channel. So if you're not subscribed to me, I would consider, and if you like Spellbinders product, I would ask that you might consider subscribing, because we've got lots of fun new product coming up for the rest of the month. We've got several things. If you've seen their coming soon selection, you'll know what I have coming up, because those are the products I'll be working with, those that are listed in the coming soon section. And this is one of them. So I'm going to get all 3 of these trees laid down on their trunk. And we're going to use a couple of them for our first card, and then we'll save one for our last card. Like I said, it is a little bit of a longer video because I'm assembling 2 different die sets, and then we're going to bring in the better press and press our sentiments, and we've got lots of bits and pieces here. Now here's my little girl. I'm going to use her for our lodge, and then I'm going to use the other pieces for the second card. I will bring in some more. She has some more accessories. She's got a scarf, and she's got some ski glasses, and her skis, and her boots, and her gloves, and all of those. Now I decided to add some dark trim to the bottom of her dress. You can lay it right flat down on that area. It lines up perfectly, but I thought if I left a little bit showing, we could have like a little darker color underneath her dress. Now she's got on her little snow pants and her snow, well, right now they're socks, because we're going to put boots on over them in a little bit darker color. And she's got 2 pieces to her hair if you want her to have long hair. If not, there's basically 2 pieces of hair, the short hair and then the long hair. And we're making her have long hair. And we've got her scarf here. We've got her mittens and her boots. And you can see her skis are on there as well. And then the other elements that are on there, we're going to make 2 boys out of, and they're going to ski on our second card. So we'll get our scarf laid down on here. And then we're going to get these tiny little gloves. And I mean, these are just teeny, tiny little pieces. So you definitely need your tweezers for this and your patience to get everything lined up nice and neat on there. They're super cute. I think this set could have been cute with some earmuffs too. In fact, I'm wondering if I even have a set that has some earmuffs that could fit on there, but. And I did take my markers and kind of made a polka dot dress for her, and it's cute. Now, you definitely could. All of the shirts, the 2 shirts and the dress are all on the same die. So you could definitely position that die and use some pattern paper and create some really fun clothing. Now, I just used my markers and tried to do some fun things. She's got a little polka dot dress, and one of the guys is going to have a kind of a plaid sweater that I just used my markers for. So we'll just get her glued up and laid down on here. I'm going to put her on the porch. I think the scale's a little bit off, but I'm going to put her on the porch, and she's going to be like inside the porch. We're going to have the railing in front of her. So I wanted to get her laid down on there first, and then we'll add the railing to it. And the railing just goes on either side of the kind of the steps out of the front door. And you can almost kind of line it up with the roof line, and it'll help you to get it lined up. So I'm just getting some glue laid down on here. We'll get this laid down. And then all we have left there are her skis, and they do match her outfit. I'm just doing some glue cleanup because I moved it a little bit and got a little glue here and there. And we're just going to do the crisscross on the skis, and then we're going to lean them against the porch like she's ready to go skiing, or she just came in from skiing and propped her skis up there. And that is our focal image for our card, with the exception of our 2 pine trees that we're going to use. And so I've got our 3D embossed panel. I've got 2 of them, and I'm just looking which one's going to work better with the skiers. And so I just decided I would use this one for the ski lodge. And I'm going to grab some black paper and trim it down. I want to kind of frame this out in black. So we're just going to create an A2 size panel. I'm going to realize that it's off when I go to lay my other panel down. We'll have to trim it up. Evidently, I've got measuring issues. So when I grab this white panel, I'm like, why do I have so much more of an edge on it than the other? I'm just looking to see. Actually, right now I'm deciding, can I go 3 3/4 by 5 is what I was looking at. And so I'm going to trim this down, and we are going to go 3 3/4 by 5. I decided to trim off 2 sides and then just one bottom there. Now you can tell by looking at that panel, that black panel, it's too long. Now this is where I realize I'm like, okay, I'll get the glue on here. I go to line it up, and I'm like, something's not right here. I'm like, why do I have such a large border around the bottom and the top? I'm like, what's going on? So I pull it off. I measure my white panel. I did cut it right. And then I look at and I'm like, there's the reason. So we're just going to bring in our scissors and trim it up. I can't tell you how many thousands of cards I've made, and I still cannot cut a panel right. So my glue dried. I'm going to lay some more glue down on there, and we'll get this laid down. And that embossed panel is so perfect for this set. He really did a good job with it. I think it's super fun. Now here we're going to just do a little tucking and see how these pine trees are going to work with our ski lodge, and then we'll get it laid down. I'll actually wind up bringing the ski lodge down further because I decide that I want a little bit more room in the upper left-hand corner for my sentiment. So right now I'm eyeballing it with it a little bit higher. but I will wind up bringing it down a little bit. So we'll get some glue on our second pine tree and get it laid down. Oops, it moved on me. The embossed panel makes it hard to, get it to stick. Now for the ski lodge, we're going to bring in some foam tape and just get it popped up. I'm going to try and cut an angle on here, and I'm going to cut the angle in the wrong direction. I don't know what I was thinking. So we're going to have to piecemeal it a little bit. So I'm just going to stick that on there, and we'll bring in a couple more pieces. And her hair is sticking off the side there. I will have to put some on her hair too. Otherwise, it'll get bent in transit as I'm milling it or whatever. It is a lovely day outside today, and there's a lot of people out and about. I keep hearing motorcycles just rumbling by, very loud. Pat actually wound up picking Gunner up from school. I was getting ready to go, and he said, oh, why don't I go get him, and you can fix lunch. So that's what I did. And when he got back, he ate his lunch, and then we went for a little golf cart ride because it is so nice. And we got down to the park, and he was passed out. So I had to hold him on my lap and get back to the house and then put him down. And I thought, well, now that he's down for a little nap, I'll get this voiceover done, and then we'll have this card ready to go. So that is pretty much it, except for our sentiment. And I will add a little bit of embellishment when we get both of our cards done. I'll put the embellishment down. But we're going to bring in the better press, and we're going to get our sentiments pressed out. I don't have it. A lot of times I'll do my better pressing off camera, so I thought I'll just go ahead and show it if there are those that don't have the better press and kind of want to see how it works or whatever. I thought I'd go ahead and leave it in, so that does add to the length of the video as well. But you can see that my platen there is very colorful because I've used it a lot. And I had this scrap piece of paper laying over there, and I thought I was going to see if it would fit, and it's going to work. I've got some pink pixie tape on here from previously using it, and I'm just going to reuse the pixie tape. I'm going to lay my panel where the A2 markings are and get it taped down. And then we will grab some ink, and we will get our sentiments inked up. And I'm going to use the Better Press ink, just kind of getting some things out of the way. There are dies that go with it. I love the Better Press. When they press everything at once and you can die cut it out all at once, it makes it so simple. So I'm bringing in Bark. It is one of my favorite Better Press inks. And I'm just going to ink it up. Now I'm just rubbing these across there. I get the best results when I do that, but I also give it a little pounce too. You do need to check for little ink hairs. If there's any hairs from your ink pad, you want to check for that because they will make a line on your panel if you leave them on there. Ask me how I know. I've done it multiple times. So you can do a two press. I did a two press front and back. When you're not using cotton paper, it helps to give you a better press if you go back and forth. Now there was a little bit of, felt like glue or adhesive or something that was on there, and so I was just rubbing it off. And now I'm just going to bring in my Platinum 6 plates, and we're going to get this laid down on here. And like I said, this is going to die cut them all out at once. I love this because then you have a handful of sentiments that you can use for different things. I'm just going to reuse that tape because if I don't, it'll move on me. And then I'll have one or two but bad cut sentiments. So I'm going to use it. It's there. We're going to make sure this doesn't move, and all of our sentiments are going to come out great. So we'll grab, we've got to have the A plate and then our C plate, and we're going to get it ran through here. When I cleaned off my desk, I got it situated to where I can put my Platinum 6 on one side and my Scout on the other, and I can just grab them as I'm working here and not have to go over to the bookshelf and grab them. So I'm liking that a lot. Now I say that, I change things constantly, so we'll see how long it lasts, but it seems to be working for now. just popping all those out. We'll get these plates put up, get these sentiments organized so I can see them and figure out which one I want to use on what. And then we're going to move on. So there we go. So this is my ski lodge, and I thought ski sends greetings would be great. I think that's kind of fun. So we're going to put that on there. And I chose to use that one for the lodge instead of the skiing because I thought with the skiing guys, I thought dashing through the snow would be fun with that. So that's what I'm going to use on the second one. So we're going to go on to our second card. I'm just showing you the first one. And to save time, I assembled them. I got the little guy in the green on his snowboard, and then I've got the little guy in the brown with the little plaid sweater on the brown skis. And they have got their ski goggles on. I don't know what you call them, but that's what I'm calling them. I realized as I was doing this card that I don't know much about winter sports. I'm not a big fan of winter. I know all about building snowmen, shoveling snow, and having snowball fights. But I don't know much about skiing or snowboarding other than what I've seen on TV at different times. I've not been a winter sport fan, I guess I should say. I'm more of a beach person, and so when I first did these skis for the little guy in the brown, I realized that they were in the wrong direction. So I basically just flipped them over and colored the other side brown so that they could go in the right direction as his feet. So that's what I had to do there. You actually there are two directions of the face, and so you have to keep that in mind as you're creating your cards. Which direction do you need your face to be? While the guy in the brown, his feet are going in one direction, he's looking the other direction, but it's okay because it works out all right with his hands, I think. So we'll get our 3D embossed panel laid down on here, and I did the same thing, 3 3/4 by 5, and then I took a black panel and I did 3 7/8 by 5 and I guess 2/8, and just created a very thin little black frame around it just to bring that black back in. So when I take pictures of my card, we've kind of got a little bit of similarities in our cards. And then I'm going to get this little guy skiing on actually snowboarding up top. And he's actually on a swish line. And then I'm going to bring the other guy, put him on a swish line, and then we're going to add this pine tree just so we have another little element there. Now we can get him laid down, and I'm going to line his ski up to where it looks like he's made that path. We'll get him glued down on there. And then, like I said, we're going to bring in that dashing through the snow sentiment is what we're going to use on this one. And I think that's fun because they are kind of dashing through there. So we'll grab some foam tape, pop it up, and get it laid down on there. And then I took advantage of that embellishment cell that Spellbinders had, and I got some embellishment pieces. So I will grab the opal gems and bring them back in and put them down on both of our cards. I kind of thought they're kind of like a little bit like a snowflake, and so we could add that. I don't always put gems or embellishments on my cards, but I thought I would do that today. So here are our two cards. I think they're super cute. This set is Darling from Simon. So I will link everything in the description box below so that you can check it out. And hopefully you like it. And if you shop with my links, it is very helpful to me and my channel. It allows me to continue to bring you fresh content specifically from Spellbinders because they'll continue sending me product to work with. And then, of course, I do make a commission off of that, so it's really helpful to me. So I'm going to get these little gems. And I've got the medium-sized ones. I really like the small to medium. Get them laid down on there. And then I thought, well, we've got them out. Let's go ahead and add them to our ski lodge. So we'll put 2 above our ski sends greetings and then 1 below our ski sends greetings. And I think that'll be just what we need on this card. And I think they're super fun. So I know it was a longer video, but I hope you like it. Thanks for watching. I thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.